Sugar Daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
I think Dan's trolling us. Dan literally was on the whole pre-show. During that show, Dan disappeared and reappeared. I kid you not, like 9 times. I added him to the stream like 9 times. This is the theory. Dan's so good, and it makes me realize, have I ever actually seen Dan in person? Is Dan even a real? Look at this. Here he comes. Watch this. Watch this.
It's getting philosophical today on the OO show.
Dan, are you okay?
Yeah, what happened?
Blink 3 times if you're in danger.
Yeah. I was telling them you were popping in and out like a little hacker or something.
Oh, is that what it was? I've heard all that going on, and I didn't know if it was me or the.
That was you. That was awesome.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I was beginning
out
to
of reality.
I was saying I didn't even know if have I ever actually seen you in person? Are you just like a Russian troll or something like that?
That's right. It's a
I'm
plant.
not sure what happened.
Guys, listen, it's a Friday. It's cold and rainy in Knoxville. Matt, is there still snow in Indy?
Snow on the ground. Roads are clear. All is good.
Okay. Dan, live on location from Greenville, South Carolina. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it's a little cooler, but still, I always say there's no bad weather day in the South, right? I mean, but that's untrue. It can get cold. I know Knoxville's been cold, but there's hope there. With Chicago, between now and May basically it's going to be tough, right? Here, you're going to whip out 70-degree, 60-degree days between, wouldn't you say, between Knoxville, Tennessee, and South Carolina. So there's hope. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
Even in February, it gets nice in December. I mean, I remember 50-degree weather days in Knoxville around December. So this is,
when we were
That's
in Chicago,
the absolute truth of it. Because I mean, Dan, being in Indiana all those years, I remember there was a whole month in Indiana where ice never melted. Like it was just a thick sheet of ice on my driveway. And the reason I remember this is because I was hosting a Super Bowl party at the beginning of February, and I had to get out basically a chisel to like clear my sidewalk and driveway because I had been lazy, because we just had a garage with a cover. We just didn't use the front door. We just went out through the garage. But we had all these people parking and coming in. I was like, someone's gonna die if they slip on this stuff.
Oh, right.
And it was so thick because it had not been above freezing for a month.
Oh,
it doesn't happen here in Knoxville.
But it's nice to see, isn't it, Rusty? Like in Chicago, I remember we'd have these thick icicles that could probably kill 3 people at one shot. And it'd be like, my wife would be like, well, why aren't you knocking them down? They're kind of pretty because they become like steaks. I mean,
they're pretty. They're pretty vampire killers.
They are. They are.
They're extremely dangerous.
I asked Dan, because when Dan was giving us a tour in Chicago, we were walking around downtown, and I asked him, because it was rainy and it's a little cold that day. I said, Dan, like, he's coming in riding the train to Seaboat. Like, what are you doing when it's like 10 below zero in Chicago in the winter, and you're having to ride the train and stuff? And Dan told me, he said they would all just, I envision all of downtown Chicago traveling through buildings together. Is that right, Dan?
That's exactly. Big buildings. Matter of fact, somebody wrote a book on how do you get like from the train stations 20 minutes to where you got to work, and it would have all the big buildings. Some of these buildings, they're all big. You could almost knock off a block, right? And so all these, all of us together would walk in one building, come out the other, just walk across the street. So you'd be open to the elements for about 4 seconds, than another big building. And now the buildings would hope they'd have heat in there and they'd have coffee shops. They hope maybe we'll get some of this foot traffic, which they usually didn't, I would think, unless maybe a cup of coffee. But yeah, without the shout out to the big buildings in Chicago, because they make it easy to travel around, and you don't always have to wear, because I didn't wear like, if you're out in the cold weather for a while, you want the ski mask on, the long underwear, the whole 9 years. Here, I mean, I'd go with a light jacket to work because I knew I felt protected with the big buildings, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense. And I hate traveling with this. I mean, my grandpa would, some of the jackets from the early 90s, my grandpa would make me wear. I mean, they are
the parkas.
Like nuclear missile jacket. Like, it's insane how thick.
Can you show up with one of these jackets? I just want to see you with one of those jackets on.
Well, if I could fit in any of those at this point, that would be
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
But, so listen, big day. We got lots of stuff to talk about. So we're going to jump right in real quick. Let's do the rundown here. So number one, the streak is over, fellas. The last time LeBron scored 8 points or under 10 points when he played basketball besides last night was 2007.
Oh my, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He has a longest streak of 10 points or higher. And people say, well, he's going to just milk that all year. He did not milk it all year because instead of scoring, Dan left again. He hates LeBron so much. It makes me so sad.
I'm gonna join him. Yeah,
I would love
left talking by yourself on.
Dan exited again. It's wild.
You know what? I just noticed it said here, maybe they're having trouble in the neighborhood or something.
No worries. I'll keep putting you back all day.
Connection. I apologize. Maybe I should go out and come in again.
No. But listen. Instead of scoring 10 points, he passed the ball and Rui hit a game winner.
Oh,
that's leadership. Do you go for individual stats or do you go for the win? That's kind of LeBron's thing. He goes for the win.
Did you see the player the other night? He was on the court. His team was down by like 20. The coach was trying to get everybody engaged. The coach was trying to run a play for this player. And instead of being engaged with the team, the player was talking to the opposing team's bench.
wow.
And the coach had to call a timeout, and he yelled and he said, "LeBron."
Oh my. Wow. Troy, what do you say?
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
I'm just a storyteller, guys.
He's just
Matt's the resident historian.
I didn't come up with this.
Troy, would you like to comment on that?
Pacers suck. All right. So next thing, Troy's top songs. So guys, I don't know if you saw this. Every year Spotify does, I feel like that's like a 90s comedian. Have you seen this? I don't know. Have you seen this? Have you checked this? Every year Spotify, Apple Music, all these people, they analyze what you've listened to because they're watching. And it's a giant machine. And they'll tell you at the end of the year what your top artists were and your top songs were. I did this last night. I clicked on it, and I want you guys all this today. Go ahead, Matt.
Matt?
I want to give us all an opportunity to guess.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt, but I'm interrupting. Continue. Just, I don't want you to spoil it.
Well, I'm about to spoil it. So I'm not going to show the artist. I'm just going to do the songs.
Okay. Can we have a guess or two?
Yeah,
Okay.
guess the songs.
How about chat? Any guesses? Is it, let's play yes or no. Is it from this decade?
Almost not.
Bob
What
Are
one
they
of
from
the
this?
t-
Are they
top-
from the 60s?
the top one is from 2025. The top song is
Oh,
from 2025. Actually, that's
Are most of the
23,
artists from
23.
the 60s?
Yes.
Bob Dylan. Just gonna keep saying Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan is one of the guesses on the
All right.
on the is Bob Dylan one of them?
It's what top artist. I'm going to show you the top song, and I want you guys to look at this, and I want you guys in the Discord today, OO Show discussion channel. I want you to listen. It's real important. My wife thought this would be an important thing. I want you to listen to this order. Just listen to these 5 songs in order today,
Okay.
and then put in the OO Show discussion. What do you think is happening to me emotionally this year?
Okay.
That's the thing. Okay, so here we go. Here's the
Based on the five,
Yikes!
I like
This is
it.
not
here's
an
the-
adventure I wanted to take.
Here's the
Yeah,
top songs.
it's
So I played a song from David Gilmour, singer for Pink Floyd. 23
Interesting.
times this year I listened to that song.
Okay, Scanner.
Surf's Up, the Beach Boys. You think he's happy-go-lucky? I want you to, and I invite you to listen to Surf's Up from the Beach Boys and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Number 3 gets a little
A lot of
happier.
Beach Boys.
Shortening Bread from the Beach Boys. Number 4,
Okay.
Twin Peaks theme, the Twin Peaks theme show song.
Wow.
Take the gander of that.
Angelo Bieta.
Angelo
Badalamenti.
Badalamenti.
Okay.
And
Wow.
then number 5, Ding Dang from the Beach Boys. So
A classic.
again,
A classic.
I ask you guys that order. Put it. Listen, come back, listen to the show on YouTube. Put it in the OO Show discussion channel. What do you think my mental state was this year based on those 5 songs in that order? So
Wow.
okay, we'll keep going.
Yikes.
Let's talk about what we talked about yesterday. Rusty, we had a come to Jesus moment yesterday where we talked about position sizing, and Tom asked us on Tom's behalf, and we can't turn down a Scotsman. He asked us to talk about why you don't necessarily, if a test says trade 50% allocation, that doesn't mean you need to trade 50% allocation in real life. So we had a good discussion about that. But today we've been looking at this variation of the 1428 all week, and basically Roadkill Soup has been doing, shout out the whole crew this week, because you guys have been doing well.
Shout out to the Discord. Best
Shout out to the
Discord in
Discord.
the Wild West.
It's one of the best Discords in the world. But you guys have been doing really good work. I asked you guys Monday or Tuesday, I said, don't do one lots anymore. I want us to test this using allocation, because we said we're going to do one lots when we trade this, but let's do allocation testing. So I give you December 4th, yesterday's, because I should show it, but then we talked about other things instead. Roadkill Soup's 1428. Guys, look at this. Tell me what's going on. Matt, Rusty, Dan, anybody who wants to take a gander. What are we doing in this trade? What is this trade and what does it do?
Well, it's the old familiar 1428. First of all, we've done quite a few of those, right, on the show and whatnot. What's interesting though, it's got the all day floating entry. You're basically waiting all day for a VIX move down from the open of the day, which somewhere between 931 and 940 generally, usually 931, 932 the VIX prints. So from that moment to the end of the day, it's looking for a VIX move down. And it's pretty, I would say, pretty conservative on the exits in terms of the short long ratio isn't well, that's actually pretty small, 0.015. So you're looking for there's going to be very little juice left in the shorts, right? 1% is pretty small. And you're pretty conservative, I would say, with the short long put tested. I mean, I would say that, I'll be honest, put tested of -4 versus call tested -5 is silly to me. I like round numbers. I don't think 1 point on Qs. Maybe it makes a big difference. We'll see. But and then you're leaving it on pretty long, right? So you can see that average days in trade is almost 12 because of those early exits. But if you look at the time, you're leaving it to where there's basically only an hour and 20 minutes left on those shorts, right? So you could take this thing all the way to, and I guess it probably happens pretty rarely. You're probably going to get one of the other exits first. And the only other thing here is it's got you're wanting a decent amount of short to long premium at the outset, right? To where you're looking for half of the value in the shorts compared to the long. So fairly juiced.
You want them juiced.
You want it juiced. And it plays out pretty well, right? So you've got a win percentage of 63% of the time where your average winner is twice your loser.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a good bet, right? Assuming everything else is accurate. I don't trade a lot of Q, so I'm going to lean on someone else. Maybe you guys can talk about this in a second to see if the slippage is accurate and the fees and everything else. But if this were accurate, if you could say, yeah, this is pretty good parameters on the miscellaneous column there, that's a good bet, right? If someone said, I'll give you a 63% chance where you win twice as much as you lose, you take that bet any day of the week. I don't care what it was, right?
Yep. And I would just I trade some Q DCs. And this is another backtest. There's some interesting stuff on Q's DCs where there's maybe a little more nuance with them, I'm realizing, than SPX, and that there are things that work and don't work better or worse in one or the other. In my experience, 3 cents should cover you on the slippage. And the fees are generous. I mean, I think, shout out to this backtest setup. No critiques from the Punisher Overlord here, because 65 cents is obviously fees are per user, but yeah, I think we're good. The bigger thing, I think, well, not the bigger thing, the other thing to point out is that, like, that short long, the combination of the short long and the VIX is really limiting the entries, right? Because we're in basically almost 3.5 years of it. It's traded 250 times. So it has the potential of trading every day. It's not trading every day, though. What is that? Maybe 1 out of every 3 days that it's possibly trading, something like that. Probably get an idea from looking at the trade log, but I like a lot of things in this back test.
Yeah, it's a good sample size.
Yeah.
I mean, 243 trades since, over the last 4 years. It's not bad. Or 3.5 years isn't bad. That's pretty good.
Nothing
Not overfit.
This would be a bear to trade manually. I will say that. But
Yes.
that's the beautiful thing about automation is it's just like the scene in Moneyball. It's just like the scene in Moneyball. Is it bad? Is it bad we're lost Damon? No, I think it opens up all sorts of exciting possibilities. Automation opens up all sort of exciting possibilities.
I like it. Quoting
like
our
that
Michael
quote.
Lewis right now.
Yes.
Great author.
Side note, before we jump back into that, I do have to say, Michael Burry and Michael Lewis did a podcast,
Woo!
and it's got some real good.
Raise your hand if you've listened to it.
I've got to listen.
2 out of 4.
Gotta listen to it. Listen,
Is it
for the perma bears in the crowd, you're gonna hear this, and you might have a heart attack from just joy instantly. I mean, the things he says in that, Michael Burry. So if you're not aware, surely everyone's here seen The Big Short, have heard of it, right? In the crowd, and Michael Burry. What are the things he dunks on in that podcast, Troy? And he says Bitcoin is basically worthless and dumb.
Bitcoin, Tesla, all of AI, the entire stock market.
Tesla's overvalued.
Listen.
Palantir and Nvidia and all of AI are overvalued, and maybe.
Why is he certain? Here's my question. I haven't seen it, but I've seen that Burry has been in the he's been in the spotlight. Yeah. Is he from what I'm seeing, it's just a recent thing, or has he been pounding on the drum for quite a while on this?
So I think he's been on for a while, but he had to be very measured because his compliance officer, my understanding is the compliance officer at his hedge fund told him, don't say anything, don't respond, keep your stuff to yourself, because you got to be careful, I guess, when you're running a hedge fund. Yeah. I don't know all the rules of the SEC and all that, but you've got to be careful. Well, that's why his Substack, his blog, if you will, is called Cassandra Unchained, because now he shut down, he deregistered his fund, and now he can say whatever he wants. So here's what happened. All he did is you have to make public your positions, right? And so if you're registered, and he did that, and these, I'm going to channel my inner Nassim Taleb here. These journalists who are very dishonest said things like, he has $1 billion short on Palantir and things like that. No, that was the notional value of
$100 billion.
Or sorry,
it was something crazy.
It was something crazy. Here was the point. He had a $10 million position, which isn't that much for the size of his fund, I guess, where he had shorted Palantir and Nvidia with like a few millions of dollars in puts. So the notional value, if you're going to be dishonest, was worth, but that's not his position. That's not how options work. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not looking to buy Palantir if it dips that low or buy it and sell
Right.
it. He just bought the puts so if they were to tank, he would sell the puts asymmetrically.
Yeah.
I like actually that kind of lie. Like I like the idea of like, I mean, with that in mind, I have traded hundreds of millions of dollars in SPS. Like,
That's
the
what we
last 8
need to
years.
start.
That
That's
makes
the
sense. I
narrative.
mean,
Troy.
as
Yeah.
someone who's traded hundreds of millions of dollars SPX, I think I'm a voice you could trust on that.
You can relate
Yeah,
with that.
exactly.
We need to know. Yeah, get on the OO show where the combined trading, billions when you consider all of Dan's trade,
all
trillions.
sure.
I mean, who knows? Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
could
yeah.
buy our own continent at this point.
Yeah.
So
All right.
anyway, so it just became public because of that. And I don't want to belabor the point, but the point is that's why it became public. So that he could really go all in, he deregistered it,
Wow.
and now he's saying wild. I mean, like stuff like I can subscribe to the Substack if you're not. Pay the man his money. It's worth a read. He's talking about why, because of depreciation of assets, because of employee stock compensation, why he thinks all these companies, these AI tech companies, are extremely overvalued. Extremely.
Mm. Mm.
I like it.
I'm gonna add one level of nuance to that that's interesting. One of the stories he tells on that is and Bear, he has this reputation of being a perma bear, and I think that's a really unfair characterization of it. He actually talks about his kid is on like one of the same sports teams as one of the C-level execs at Nvidia. He owned Nvidia until a few years ago. He's not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not. And he's most famous for The Big Short. But the other thing he's probably most famous for until this was he was one of the early people in on GameStop. And like GameStop happened, the blow up happened at the end of end of January 2021. He was in GameStop for years before in a long position, criticizing the board as a very outspoken activist. So he's not a short only guy.
Yeah.
It is worth listening to. I will agree with Rusty. The podcast is free. His Substack is $40 a month or something. I can't remember, but check it out. It's a good listen.
Yeah.
We're going to have him on the show next week. I think Troy's working on him. He's only done one interview like in 50 years, but he might come on the show next week after J-Pow.
That's right.
Wow.
All right. So listen, Good Origami Man has a good thing we could jump into together. Back to this test, just a reminder, the 1428. He says trade replay August 29th, 2024. So this one right here. We opened at 474. We closed at 456. The shorts were at 460 on the put. So the put was tested. It has a wide bid-ask spread. Okay. So I imagine that's why he's
on entry.
Right.
Not on
entry. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think might actually be something that people. Rusty, can you speak to that? I think maybe people think that we don't
click the trade replay.
I think people don't know that there's both, that you have entry and exit sometimes.
Entry and exit. So here's what I would say. Look at that first candle. Look at the bottom of that. Hover over the yellow line, if you will. The very bottom. What minute is that?
It's right at open. It's like 9.
Okay, it's right at open at 9. You got to hover over the dot, Troy. Troy doesn't use a trade replay lot. There you go. So $1.19. Go to the next data point right above it. Is it 9:34? No, it's at 10 o'clock. Okay, so you would need to go to the weekly view rather than the overview. Bottom left where it says view. Okay, look at that. So it jumped. Yeah, so really it was a fallacious 1 minute price right at open. So what I would do probably so close this for a second. Here's a guess I got. How many of these wide bid asks are right at open? 10, 9:32, 10:32. So 10 a.m. there on a Friday. That was the news of. Or no, that's the close. That's the close. I'm looking at the wrong thing. 9:32, 9:42, but there is a 10 a.m. there at September 5th. So you almost say
10:01.
I don't know if it's realistic to be opening this in the morning. You could say 10:02, wait for the news to shake out. I don't know. I don't trade the Qs. I don't trade options on them. Do they take a lot longer to get liquid 14 to 20 days out than SPX? Quite possibly. Right? So you can do two things here. As a backtest technician, which should be part of your job if you're doing this, you should be an artisan. You want to be crafting backtests that are realistic. Is you could either start this later in the day, or you could click the ignore bid ask. Or ignore wide bid ask. You could do either of those things. Right? So try 10-15 or something. Or try this. Yeah, try this first. We'll see if it, because if this greatly kills the sample size of the test and or the statistics there, then I wouldn't take it.
To the point, I went back through the first 20 trades. I didn't see any that made me question. This one's back farther than that, so I didn't find it. But it's a good question. I think in general, though, on entry, what's going to happen is it'll just fill the next minute. If you have a wide bid ask low in this example, that was wide bid ask low, it would just fill, it would, and you had a floating entry, it would just float and try the next minute from a practical standpoint if you're automating it. Again, this would be one. Automation opens up all sorts of exciting possibilities. This would be one that would be tough to trade manually, I think, because you've got to check multiple conditions. You know, you've got to check a short, long, you've got to check is VIX down. And that's kind of the beauty of automation. So
I will say
that, yeah, go ahead, Troy.
Well, I will say, I just posted a link to the message. Mr. T has been trading something that's not this exact back test, but a variation. He was very open about his results that he's traded. And I've traded this too, of 1428 for a couple months now. I actually think it has gone on as early as like 9:33, right? Like, so I would say that actually this is one of those where Qs are really liquid. Like they are really, really liquid. And I would actually probably at this stage, maybe say even the 14 days might be more liquid than SPX 14 days, to be honest. I could be wrong.
If that were the case, then why would you have such noisy data that you don't see on SPX?
I'm simply saying the data that actually is trading is like this has been run 50 times. You know, some of them opened early in the morning. You know, you're getting filled. Now, the question is, go back and match that exact time on the back test, and that's something to be done to see.
I'll just give this, if anybody is a verified subscriber, that post Troy linked is excellent. It's got a data point of live actual trades, and it's done pretty good, pretty healthy, double-digit capture rate. Shout out to you, Mr. T. Shout out.
So yeah,
it's take forever.
It's also running. I just realized that it's floating bid ask, but
it's not just because it's floating.
Yeah,
with a min short long, and you do that, it has to sample the whole chain over and over and over and over again, calculate the prices, and then compare. So that's a good way to, the fun thing to run at lunchtime while you're doing something else.
The fun thing about this and the fun thing about automation is that you'll look at back tests, and I mean, my argument I think is the back test is fairly accurate, and fairly meaning like you can trust it. I think that the automation kind of shows that like the strategy overall is opening and close, and like the fees are matching. Like it works in automation. Like multiple data points are showing that like you can trade this in automation, and there's certainly backtest to Rusty's point. You can't automate. You shouldn't automate. You won't want to automate. It will hurt you emotionally if you try to automate. For instance, 180-day 90 delta call spreads in the money.
Yes.
Right. Things like that.
Why?
So I mean, any other thoughts about
here's
this?
what I'd recommend. Just open up an option chain or even O's modeling tool. And if you hover over the column, it'll tell you what the spread width is. And it'll be like $1 billion spread width. I mean, like you just this.
So we had this a couple weeks ago. Somebody was automating a somebody was trying to automate a trade, and they said that I keep getting a broker rejected message, and it was a deep in the money spread in which they were trying to get a credit greater than the spread with. And it's like, guys, this is a great tool. OO is a great tool. Okay. If you think that there's an edge in selling deep in the money spreads because you can get greater than the spread with, even if you could find that, the brokers won't allow it. And you have hedge funds with tools that, and the smartest people in the world, if there is an edge to any of that stuff, they are scraping it so hard that when we talk about edge, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about trying to, I'm going to do a 90-day, 99 delta, 98 delta call spread. Dan, you're nodding your head.
Well, yeah, it gets me because I get this all the time. You know, you'll get a student who'll say, Dan, I think I can arb this.
Right.
And I'm like, you're a retail guy with your Panera coffee sitting in your office, and you're going up against Citadel with 4,500, what do they call those?
Yeah, they got
computer
quants.
guys.
They own 8 floors in the Sears Tower.
Dan, I would ask you to keep our private messages private. Yeah. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I go on rants on them, like, please don't think that you and your little office are going to get the, no. It's like sometimes I get this with calendars, right? You look at a put calendar versus a call calendar. And generally a put calendar will be cheaper. And so people will say, hey, there's an arb here. I go, there's not an arb. There's a relationship. If you're ever bored, right? Look up a word called jelly roll.
Okay.
There's a relationship between the time spreads, and in the pits, you would, if the relationship was out of whack, you would buy one calendar and sell the other. You'd end up in a risk-free trade. You're not going to do that generally from a retail, because you don't, it's just not set up for that. But if I could just make 2 quick points, one on this whole, I'll get this a lot of time with butterflies, right? Like lately the market's gone up. So people have butterflies on, let's say a call or a put butterfly or whatever. We go up 150 points in the market. All your options are in the call butterfly or in the money. So they'll say, Dan, I can't look at when you look at the bid ask to get out of the spread, it's like $4 wide. And they're like, they're screwing me. What's going on? I said, well, here's the answer, right? You got to be more patient. If you look at, like Rusty said, if you look at the bid ask and those options, bid ask on options near the money are going to be tight, even on a $6,000 vehicle. You start getting 150 points in the money, they could be $7 wide. So those mid-ask prices, the bid-ask prices are going to change, right? The mids, they're based on the mids. So you just have to kind of recognize that, be a lot more patient. If that bothers you, do iron butterflies, because iron butterflies, you're selling the at the money options, call and put, and you're buying the wings. I think there'll be less mid price. So if you get kind of crazed looking at that, I would look at that. The third point, I just want to say, I like the 14 by 28. I mean, my 2 quick points on that, it's a 20 delta. So you're going to have a good probability. It's, for the most part, you're selling a 20 delta call and put. You're 14 days out. To me, the thing you got to be careful with, and the only thing I'd like to test more with I'd like to get the link here and then test it a little more. I'm just concerned volatility. Like right now, if you said in the market right now, it looks like VIX could open pretty, we're still in the 16, 17 range, guys. And I think that's perfect, right? But, you want to be concerned, you have a little more volatility bite to this if it goes against you. If VIX is 27 and we drop 5 points, you'd be like, whoa, right? And I am a little bit concerned that short-long ratio. I think Matt and Rusty were talking about that. You're basically letting all the premium go out, and you could kind of just be long the strangle, which could be very painful. So I'd like to maybe test more. I'm just a little more concerned on the volatility when you start getting 14 by 28, 2 weeks between your long and the short. there's a lot more volatility kick to this, but it tested well. So, I mean, it's not like the short long ratio really was.
Yeah. And we have people who've, like, we had one guy, if anybody else wants to share a 1428 where they've been trading it live, I mean, in the queues specifically, we have some data points on it. So this is a great conversation. I just kind of want to put a button on this. We kind of went on a rant there, and I just want to clarify one thing. This 1428, we're talking about edge. We're talking about trade structure, exactly what Dan said, like talking about the setup. That rant we went on is about people trying to game deep in the money options. That is not that. No, you did well. I just want to kind of emphasize that too. That is, those kind of 95 delta 5 wide spread arbitrages. Those are bad ideas and bad back tests.
Yes.
And they're not realistic. And
right.
They're also, again, what I try to do when I'm doing something is I take a step back and I say, okay, why does a 1428 make money? Complicated vol structure. We've got movement. You can explain why a DC is profitable. Why would a 95 delta 5 wide not make money? It takes you about 2 seconds to realize, oh, this isn't actually a real price. And if it was, a hedge fund would blow it out. So there's the cool thing is on this show, every day we talk about share backtest models and automations that like actually have legitimate edge. And we have a huge community of people trading it every day in our Discord and posting their results, us included. So
yeah, I think it's a good discussion. I think that's part of anything like that. We talked about yesterday. I mean, any trade, there's a balance in that. Show me any trade. I don't care who you are, honestly, really. Show me any trade and I'll explain why you should never trade that. There's always something in a strategy that is, it is what it is. So you have to do the balancing act of it. You have to try to get as good a data as you can, but also, there's a little bit of art to it and a little bit of forward testing involved in it.
That's right.
And that's why we said start.
And I would
go ahead, Dan. Sorry,
Troy. I would encourage people sometimes, when you come up with a back test or you're working on a back test and you maybe have an idea, go to the modeling tool for a second. What does this beast look like? And before it, and I think if you just pause, that look like and analyze it from two things, price and volatility risk. Make sure you have that, get that clear in your mind. Then go back and finish the back testing. Say, okay, now I get it. I saw in the modeling tool clearly how the Greeks are affected, how the graph. I think the modeling should help you become a much better back tester, regardless of your, and I'm not just saying beginner. I think this tool benefits beginners big time because it's just so quick. It's so easy to use. But I think intermediate and advanced people can, if you're stuck on a back test and maybe I'd like to make it better, it's not getting better, go into the modeling tool for 20 minutes and say, let me go over this. I guarantee you'll get an idea, right? Because the visual, it's like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together on that. So
they do. I mean, that's we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Listen, Dan's point's correct, and that's exactly right. Speaking of Dan, real quick announcement before we end. We want to do more content about trading options. We have found content through the years to be extremely helpful for us in learning options. And so we started the show this year, guys. I can't believe it, but we're really 12 weeks away from the 1-year anniversary of the Option Mega Show, which is a big deal. We'll have
happy anniversary.
Let's see if we make it, but that's 1 year. Dan and I are we're talking through, and this was Dan's idea, and shout out to Dan, but we're talking through about adding some content next year for people who are completely new to options every day of the week that you can log into the channel and start learning how to do some of this stuff. And so Dan and I are working through, if you're new to options, you're like, I have no idea what they're just talking about. This is crazy. I'm trying to learn, but it's too much. We're going to start it small. 2 more content things I want to announce, and we'll be putting stuff out on the Discord real quick in a little while about this, but January 6th, if you like that talk and you're like, I probably have a bunch of back tests that I need help with. I've got a show for you fellas and ladies, because starting January 6th on Tuesdays, Mark Anderson is going to do a weekly show on the Option Omega channel called Fix My Backtest with Mark Anderson. And this is what it's going to be. We'll shut up the channel, all that stuff. You're going to share your backtest ahead of time. And we might have you on the show. We might just talk about your backtest if you want, but you can send them. We'll make it anonymous, all that stuff. But we're going to go through, and Mark's going to help improve backtests. So if that's something that you've ever been interested in, like I would like a third party to get help with this, that's going to be a chance, and it's going to be on the YouTube channel. Final announcement. That's in January 6th, starting this coming Tuesday. This Tuesday at 12 p.m. and every Tuesday at 12 p.m., we're going to do the Navigation Trading Show. 12 to 1. Me and Steve from Navigation are going to talk about markets, going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff. Steve is a madman. Dan has talked to Steve before. Steve trades a lot, and Steve trades everything.
Incredible. He's incredible.
Steve trades a lot of stuff. So starting this coming Tuesday, 12 to 1, will be the Navigation Show. And then, like I said, we're going to maybe do a bunch more stuff next year. Dan's got some big dreams, and I'm the one that's like, oh, but my brain, what about nap time? That would take away my nap time. And Dan's like, shut up.
No. I just want to say this about Steve. And obviously, Mark, I think that's, Mark's is wonderful for people with backtest starting out, that you can go through that. That will really help the skill set. I mean, obviously the Option Omega Discord is great. But I like about Steve also is, he's one of the first people that I really could say, not only does he really understand this stuff, but I like when he's looking at, when he talks technicals. A lot of people, I get confused with all the Fibonacci, Gubonacci, a lot of these different things. And Steve's one of the first folk that I've talked to that he focuses on the price action, and I actually understand what he's saying. I mean, he's just he has a good gift of making it very easy to understand. And he looks at it like a normal person, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that people that look at Fibonacci are.
I'll say that. I'll say that for you.
Will you say that? Yeah. I mean, and I'm thankful for a lot of the technical. There's a lot of good, with Market Pro. There's a lot of very talented people out there. But I mean, for me, who gets confused easily with everything, but with that, I like the way Steve presents it and looks at things, and I'm looking forward to that show. That should be great.
Well, and he wants you on as well, so I'll be on there, kind of navigating and moderating a little bit, and we'll go from there. But guys, listen, it's a Friday. 2 minutes to the bell. Have a great trading day. We're going to have some more Christmas goodies for you next week. Next week we'll start talking. We haven't even discussed. This is going to be the first year with the Option Omega show where there's a return to something that was beloved in the community for a while.
Asked about many times. Hopefully, I think I know what you're going to say.
It's going to go bigger and better than ever. We're going to do the trades of the year this year.
There it is.
And we're going to do it right. So there'll be more about that next week. But listen, have a great trading day, and we